What's up, you nerds? Today we're talking about, hopefully, farming the Duality Dungeon. I'm going to show you not only how to one-phase Keitel on normal difficulty, but master difficulty as well. Reason why I'm going to show you both is because there are two reasons that I can think of why anyone would want to farm the dungeon. Reason number one, weapon farming, which is best done on normal difficulty, and reason number two, Artifice Armor farming, aka the best kind of legendary armor in the game, which can only be acquired on master difficulty. I'll take you through the game plan for each and best practices for a one phase. But quick question for you, do you want to earn a little extra cash and gift cards in your spare time? Of course you do, and that's why I'm gonna tell you about Pinecone Research. They're the sponsor of today's video. Having a lazy afternoon and just doom scrolling through Twitter on your phone? Bag that noise and do something productive instead. Get cash, movie ticket vouchers, and more for taking surveys. Pinecone is a company that asks and pays people just like you to give feedback about products and brands. And they're different from other survey brands because they're invite only. They have exclusive opportunities and a guaranteed payout amount for every task you complete. There's even opportunities to test and review products. All you gotta do is sign up, which will be super easy for you because you can hit up my invite link down below in the video description. They'll reach out when they got an opportunity for you. No more wasting time on tasks you won't get rewarded for. Again, use my exclusive link right now down in the description and start earning rewards today. Thank you, Pinecone. All right, back to the content. Why don't we start with weapon farming? And to do so, we must consult the chart. Don't laugh, I worked hard on this. Anyway, to weapon farm optimally, we're going to do the boss encounter of the dungeon because as we can tell from the beautiful chart, not only does the Nightmare of Keitel encounter have the ability to drop any weapon from the other two encounters, but you also get 2 loot drops overall instead of just 1. If you wanted to specifically farm encounter 2 just to get the Stormchaser LFR, I mean, sure, you could do that. But again, I like Keitel because it's quick and you get double loot drops. You get more bang for your buck overall. So if you don't already have a Keitel checkpoint, you're going to want to go through the dungeon like normal. Then when you get to the boss encounter, do the usual routine. Launch the encounter, wipe. When you respawn, change characters. Load back into your buddy's fire team on your different character, then beat Keitel. Now load up encounter again on character A and repeat. TLDR, you're holding the checkpoint on character A and you're beating it on character B. Loadout wise, I'll be honest, you're probably not going to have a really difficult time one phase in Keitel on normal difficulty if you go even a little hard with your loadout. To show you what I mean, my buddies and I did a run on normal difficulty where I used a tractor cannon and a slug shotgun. One of them brought a Callerhorn, but our third guy used double primary and Wardcliff coil and we got a one phase. But let's talk about what you should bring really. Most people recommend one phase in Keitel with linear fusion rifles, and I do too. If you happen to have the Stormchaser, which drops in encounter 2 of the Duality Dungeon, 100% bring that. It's the only linear fusion rifle in the game that fires a 3-round burst, and it works really well on Keitel provided you hit her in the dome. Naturally, a Stormchaser with either Vorpal weapon or firing line would work even better, firing line being the ideal choice because it's a 20% damage buff compared to Vorpal's 10. If you don't have a Stormchaser, no big deal. Try to bring another linear fusion rifle. You might have a threaded needle laying around from a previous season. Bonus points if it has Vorpal weapon. I prefer legendary linear fusion rifles, by the way, because that way you can also bring a Wither Horde to the party and occasionally tag Keitel with that while damaging her with your LFR. You can use rocket launchers if you want to, but I prefer linear fusion rifles just because rocket launchers can get messy and lead to accidental self-killing, which can really gum up the works. The general rule of thumb you should follow on your fire team though, 1 person with a debuff, 1 person with a buff, and big burst damage. For popular debuffs, I'll recommend the current Big 5, Divinity, Heart Shadow, Echo of Undermining, Tractor Cannon, and Tether. However, even if you're a hunter, I might recommend avoiding Tether, mainly because you're going to be damaging Keitel in 3 different bell locations over the course of 1 total damage phase, and Tether would only be a temporary debuff, whereas the other options would be much more repeatable. Before getting into buffs, I'm going to recommend avoiding Ward of Dawn for 2 reasons. 1, same reason as Tether. You probably won't get the opportunity to take advantage of Ward of Dawn for all 3 bell rotations, And 2, well, as the title of today's video would imply, we've got a much better damage trick up our sleeves. More on that in a minute. Buff-wise, there are great options you can bring, including Loosened Blade if you're rocking a sword, or even Argent Ordnance if you go the rocket launcher route. However, today I'm hard recommending one thing and one thing only: High Energy Fire, even though it only brings a measly 20% damage buff to the table. Here's why. High Energy Fire goes away only when you get a kill. Well, take note, if you use a glaive and beat enemies down with it, that does not count as a kill and therefore does not take away the buff from High Energy Fire. Therefore, a kind of weird strategy for an easy Keitel 1 phase on normal difficulty: run double special and make one of those specials a glaive. If you equip High Energy Fire, all you gotta do is then get charged with light by any means you wish, and then as long as you beat enemies down with a glaive to kill them, you don't lose High Energy Fire and gain a perma extra 20% damage buff on Keitel. But that ain't even the best part. You wanna hear something extra crazy? After speaking to my good friend Court, who continues to provide the best spreadsheets in the entire community for free, there's currently a damage glitch going on right now that probably ain't intended by Bungie. As it turns out, being Radiant stacks with any empowering tier 1 buff, meaning if you take any form of becoming Radiant on the left and pair it with any form of tier 1 empowering buff on the right, they multiply for a grand total of 50% extra damage output. Any higher form of empowering damage like Ward of Dawn, Well of Radiance, they don't stack, but everything here from the left and the right do. So if you do that tactic I just told you where you get High Energy Fire turned on, then beat the Bell Cabal down with a glaive to ensure you don't lose High Energy Fire, you just make sure then that someone activates Radiant for the team and bam, 50% extra damage on Keitel. Want proof of that extra 50% weapon damage? Man, you're bossy. Go fight Carl, the Cabal, he'll tell you. My hand cannon does 3,138 damage per shot normally. With a Radiant buff, the damage per shot goes up to 3922, which is a 25% damage buff. And with Charged with Light, each shot does 3765, which is a 20% damage buff. When I shoot Carl with both Radiant and Charged with Light, the shot does 4,707, a 50% buff overall. Back to Courtroom's document, it only works with tier 1 empowering buffs and Radiant, and you gotta imagine that ain't intended by Bungie. And if you find that beating the Bell Cabal down with a glaive is far too labor intensive, we can do something even easier. Just have everyone turn on both Powerful Friends and Radiant Light. That way, when one of you pops your super to damage Keitel, everyone in the party then becomes charged with light due to those armor mods working together. Again, in that case, you might not even need a glaive. Even if you shoot all the Bell Cabal down immediately and lose High Energy Fire, just one of you then popping your super would bring back Charged with Light for everyone. Again, combine perma High Energy Fire with Radiant for 50% weapon damage output during the entire Keitel damage phase. And on that note, let's talk about supers. While burst damage supers are cracked cash money, I am highly recommending that someone on your fire team bring a Solar 3.0 Titan. Reason being is that IMO, they are by far the easiest class to repeatedly activate Radiant with the least amount of trouble. Ember of Torches to make everyone nearby radiant, and Ember of Solace to make the effect of Radiance last longer. Combine that together with your tiny little throwing hammer and there should be zero problem getting Radiant on literally each Keitel damage phase. If there are multiple Titans in your fire team, only one of them needs to bring the Radiant, others can spec into the classic Falling Star Thunder Crash. For Hunters, knock 'em down Star Eater Blade Barrage. You can check my video linked in the video description for more info on that build if you haven't seen it yet. For Warlocks, I'm going to recommend one of two builds. Build 1 is Void 3.0 Debuffer. Bring this if no one in the group has any form of debuff to throw at Keitel. Vortex grenades are no longer bugged and doing bad damage, so you could go full discipline Echo of Undermining, Controverse Hold, and Grenade Kickstarter. Just make sure that before shooting Keitel with your linear fusion rifle, you just tag her with a charged Vortex grenade to kick off that debuff. Build 2 is kind of a weird strategy that I've been hearing a lot about, so I tried it out to see how it would feel. You're still going to try to damage the boss with a linear fusion rifle and Wither Horde if you can, but also fusion grenade spam. You're going to want the following: the Touch of Flame aspect to make sure your fusion grenade will explode twice, Ember of Ashes to apply even more scorch to your fusion grenade, and the Starfire Protocol for 2 reasons. Reason 1, you'll get 2 fusion grenades instead of 1, but also if you rock an Empowering Rift, then you'll get your fusion grenades back omega quickly, because as you're dealing damage to Keitel from your Empowering Rift, bam, your fusion grenade energy will come back quick thanks to Starfire Protocol. Kind of a fun build. You go back and forth between dealing damage with your power weapon and yeeting fusion grenades into Keitel's face. Okay, now we're going to cover something a little bit harder, the Master Difficulty Keitel farm. The biggest tip I can give you is the following. While the ideal Master farm of Keitel is achieving a 1 phase, if you don't get a 1 phase, which is very possible, no need to wipe. Just go for a 2 phase. We're trying to farm loot out here after all, and slow loot is better than no loot. Make your goal to be to get better and better at damaging Keitel on Master until you eventually achieve the almighty 1 phase. For Master, the same principles apply. When my group achieved a 1 phase, we did the following strats previously mentioned. The plus 50% weapon damage glitch, featuring both high energy fire and radiant stacking with one another. Someone on the team bringing a debuff, which in our case was the Heart Shadow exotic sword. Again, the sword isn't mandatory, but someone needs to bring some kind of debuff. Linear fusion rifles and Wither Horde together if you can, the new Stormchaser being the goated choice. There's another tactic that I want to talk with you about real quick, especially on Master difficulty, that could make your life a little bit easier. When you've dunked 4 times and you're ready to ring the big bell to begin the Keitel damage phase, do the following. Right after shooting the chains to ring the bell, immediately look around and shoot one of the 3 smaller bells. The reason you want to do that is because if you only shoot the chains for the big bell, your guardians will kind of stand around waiting to get teleported into Nightmare Land. However, if you shoot the chains for the big bell and then immediately shoot a smaller bell like normal, you get teleported into Nightmare World faster, giving you more time to get ready and prepare for damage. It is highly recommended that on Master difficulty, all 3 members of your fire team have a predetermined game plan of who will kill which group of Bell Cabal when you enter the Nightmare World. Have someone plan to kill the left 2, the middle 2, and the right 2. Here's another tip that will help you be better prepared for Keitel. The best way to slow her down if she's moving too quickly to a bell is to get close to her and bait out a stomp, and then quickly moving out of the range of her stomp to avoid getting yeeted into a wall. If she's approaching a bell way too quickly and not everybody's ready, just have whoever is close enough get close to her and bait out a stomp to slow her down. Combine together everything I've showed you and you should be a-okay to farm on Master. I'll now show you a full run of our Master Keitel 1 phase, and you'll know it's easier than you think because during the farm I got my dumbass killed and we still pulled off a 1 phase. Here's the full damage run on Master, and I'll show you everybody's loadout after. Please like today's video if it helped you at all. Now get out there and get to farming. May RNG be with you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.